the faster communication channel. The other thing is, I don't know how many of you have done MAC before. I don't know how many of you people wrote MAC before. I don't know how many people, it's their first time. We're a very small class. Do you maybe just want to introduce yourself, or? Does anybody want to introduce him? Hi.
It's NSDN Upumelelo Songcwadi. It's my first time doing MAC.
Okay.
So I love to learn. I'm from Cape Town.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Keith, and I did it first semester, so this is like a repeat.
Okay, and EG?
I'm Ethan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Ethan Green, and it's my first time doing MAC, and I'm also from Cape Town.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. The thing with MAC is it's a very, I don't want to scare you, but it's a very, if you've got a lot of common sense, then some people just slide through MAC. But MAC is very challenging. I've had people come to me and they've done it for their 7th time already. So the thing with MAC is that people underestimate it. It looks easy. And for some people, it is just very easy. They just have a natural knack. If you don't have a natural knack for MAC, then you're going to have to work at it. And the problem or the biggest challenge with MAC is that it's accuracy. It's different to financial accounting, and people often think that financial accounting is the most difficult subject because of the debits and credits that's so overwhelming. But MAC itself is, they mark you on accuracy. And that's where the problem comes in. So you drop one note, and your whole answer is wrong. Or they start with question A, and question A would say, calculate the volume maybe of a dam of water, how much, and you can't remember what the formula is. So then you can't do B, C, D, and E, and all your answers are wrong. So that's one of the challenges with MAC. The other challenge with MAC is reading. You need to read the scenario accurately, and you have to visualize the situation. So if they're telling you that we basically got a factory that sells chairs, you need to visualize a chair, how a chair is made up. So you'll know that there's glue in the chair, there's varnish on the chair, you know that there's going to be wood on the chair. So in order to classify the cost. And today's lesson is actually about the cost. And that is the most important to be able to do MAC, to get your cost right. Okay, so I've covered that now. Just give me 1 sec. I just want to see if I missed something else. Okay, the notes I upload, okay, it is under posts. So you will go in there the day before or on the morning of the class, and I will upload it there. I will post it in the WhatsApp group as well for convenience, okay? All the notes. We need to do exercises as well so that I can show you how to attempt the questions. And this is a lot of practice. You have to put pen to paper. That's about it. I think I've covered everything basically in our introduction. Is there any questions, anything that you'd like to know? How are we going to do this going forward? Nothing. Okay, so today I want to do, first you can see there, I want to do the theory of management accounting. Okay, and then I want to do some examples with you as well. So let's just, let me just get this. Oh, damn. And you can all see my screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can
Listen,
see.
listen, this is an interactive class. I want you to discuss. I want you to ask questions. I'm there to assist you. So if you don't understand something, the next person is probably also sitting with the same question. So I need everybody also just to mute their mics while because the background noises, and also put off your cameras. Okay, for those people that came late in, can you just put your student number in the chat group so that we can have a record of your student numbers. So basically, management accounting versus financial accounting. Okay, so what is the difference between financial accounting and what is the difference between management accounting? Okay, so financial accounting mainly involves recording of business transactions and reporting the financial operations, basically communication to your external stakeholders. Okay, and financial reporting is basically for external use. Okay, management accounting is basically for internal use. Okay, so it mainly involves planning and it's mainly for decision making. Decision making obviously sometimes would involve auxiliaries. So like when they draw reports, they will say that they can only give X amount of salaries or increases. So that is what management accounting is there for. Okay. It's reporting on the financial position and cash flow of the business in accordance with the relevant bodies. And your relevant bodies is like the International Standard of Accounting, your IFRS, and that type of stuff. It involves and management accounting involves monitoring, business optimization, and the control of the business. So it's just basically everything internal about the business. Financial accounting focuses on the past, okay? Accuracy and compliance had to do with external parties. Whereas management accounting focus on the future, okay? Future meaning they do budgets, they do planning, forecasts, predictions. So that is what management accounting is all about. On timely and relevant information for decision making and for internal parties. Internal parties would be your trade unions, it would be your employees, management, etc. Let me just make this bigger. Give me 1 second. Okay, so types of organizations. Okay, so you get the manufacturing organizations, and basically in management accounting we use a lot of manufacturing organizations. So these entities purchase material and use labor to create a finished good. Okay, and an example of that is like Tiger Brands. Okay, Tiger Brands would take your raw oats, and is it not raw oats, and they'll make jungle oats or your wheat and make a wheat pix, or your baked beans, and they will process it until it becomes canned baked beans. Okay, then you get merchandisers. These organizations purchase the goods from Tiger Brands and sell them at a markup. Okay, so Woolworths is an example of a merchandise shop or merchandiser. So Woolworths purchase the jungle oats in bulk, okay, and then they'll put the markup, and that is how they will trade. The next type of business organization is service organizations. And one of the service organizations would be something like Sweeps Out, where the domestic, you'd phone on a demand service, and the domestic will come in, and in the next hour or so, they'll come and clean up your house, and they provide a service, you pay them. Okay, these businesses provide a service. They do not have inventory accounts. Okay. So cost objects and cost drivers. Okay. So cost objects is basically to establish the cost of an item, right? So the item being produced is the cost object. Okay. So if I'm producing the chair, it becomes the cost object. So basically, a business wants to know what is the cost of something it wishes to sell. So if I make a chair, I want to know what's the cost of making this chair. So I'm going to calculate my wood, I'm going to calculate my glue, my varnish, my wooden dowels, what do you call it, dowels, no? Your screws, everything, okay? So the hairdresser may wish to know what the cost of a particular service it gave to client A. So if you go for a dye, you want to go and dye your hair. So the hairdresser wants to know what is the cost of this person of to dye a person's hair. And you know, I've got like very thick hair. Whenever I go to the hairdresser, they'll tell me it's 200 rand or 500 rand to dye my hair. And in the middle of it, the lady would say, no, it's now 700 rand. Extra 200 rand because you're using much more products because your hair is thick. So that is basically how they get to the cost of client A. So they always run a loss at with my hair. Okay. So cost drivers is activities that cause a change in the cost of something. So we're going to get to that later. Okay. So there's something the next slide is period and product costs. So there's something known as a product and a period cost. How many people in the class did accounting? You can just take your mic off mute because I can't see your hands up. How many people did accounting? 1501 or 1502 already. Nobody.
I did it already.
Okay, so nobody did accounting yet. Okay, because it would have been easier to understand this. Okay, so your product cost is associated with a manufacturing process, and these include material, labor, factory overhead that's assigned to the product. Now, your product cost is everything that happens in the factory setup. So let's just take a scenario of, let me just get a factory now. Let's just say a chair factory. Okay, so the product cost would be everything associated with making that product. So it will be my labor cost, but the wages, not the salaries, only the wages of the people that was, what do you say when they skewer the chair, the wood? You know what I'm saying? And then the other person would varnish the wood. The other one will join the wood. So that is all your product cost because it's associated and directly linked to my product. Then I have something called a period cost. Okay. Now, people get very confused with this, but if you did accounting before, then you will know that sales minus cost of sales, everything that falls in this bracket here would be your product cost. Everything on the side of your income statement will be a period cost. So period cost is not associated with a manufacturing process. So your period cost is anything like maybe when I go out and deliver the chair. So then I'm going to the petrol that I put in my vehicle to go and deliver the chair. That is my period cost. What is the petrol? You're going to answer this now. So what is the petrol that I'm going to purchase to go buy the wood strips to make the chair? What is the petrol? Where am I going to put that? A period cost or a product cost? Anybody? Is julle nog daar? Hello. Are you
Is it a
people
period
here
cost?
with me?
Hello?
Nobody wants to talk to me.
Hi, is it a period
Here's another
cost?
one that joined too. Anybody? EG, you want to, what is the petrol that I'm going to pay when I go and buy the, is it a period or a product cost when I go and buy the wood to make the chair? NS,
I think
you want to take a
that's
try?
period.
TM. Oh, this thing is off here again. I couldn't hear you. Sorry, man. That's silly of me. Okay.
Is it a
Don't know why this
period
thing.
cost?
Okay, so is it okay? So you're saying it's a period cost. Why do you think it's a period cost?
I want to say it's not directly associated. Okay, wait, do you mean like the delivery to go buy the wood?
Yes. The purchasing of the wood. If I
Of the
put petrol
wood.
in to go purchase my wood, yes.
Then that's kind of like directly to the manufacturing. So maybe it's a product cost. I don't
Okay.
know.
Anybody else want to take a chance?
NS.
Yes.
I think it's a period cost because as the company we've taken out the money throughout the petrol. So according to you, it's the period cost are all the monies that were taken out from the company, like salaries and whatever. So the petrol cost is the money that we used in order for us to deliver those goods that we've done, that the product that we've done already.
No, not the product that we done when we go and purchase the wood planks that we put together to make the chair.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Either we're going to deliver or we're going to purchase.
Okay.
So if you've done it to be a product.
Yes.
So maybe we're just delivering the product, then we need to throw in the petrol in the car.
Yes.
So that will be the petrol that we throw in the car, that will be the period cost.
Okay. And when we go and purchase the wood, what would that be?
Product cost.
We purchase the wood.
Yes.
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 So, or if you go to purchase the wood is a product, so that will fall under product.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
You see, so you just need to know where you are sort of, you just have to put it in a, you have to visualize the whole thing to be able to identify the cost. Okay, so basically when your period cost would be all your distribution expenses, audit fees, the salaries and wages will go to your period cost. But the wages, you remember like wages is like when you pay weekly. Actually, but do they still pay weekly? They don't pay weekly anymore. I'm just wondering now. Anyway, what did they say? What did he say? Still get paid weekly.
They do pay weekly, and also which is called what, a fortnight. So they call it a fortnight.
Yes, I know the bricklayers get fortnight. So okay, so whether they get, so those, if it's wages, it will go onto your product cost, and if it's salaries of the receptionist and the manager, they will get a period cost. Okay, so let's move on. So then you get historical cost. Okay, so historical cost is a cost of goods and services are originally paid for. Can you just like mute the mic again? Yeah, thanks. Otherwise, the background noise is bad. Okay, so historical cost is a cost of the goods and services that you originally paid for. Okay, material cost is a physical cost used to manufacture the product. Okay, so your glue, your diesel, your oil, those are all your material cost. Okay, your labor cost is associated with labor costs associated with manufacturing the product, for example, wages. Factory overheads. Now, this is where people get confused. Okay, and this can confuse the living daylights out of you. So, factory overheads is the cost associated with running the factory. So, you will have your factory rent and your depreciation. But we'll see how this plays out later. So you have your factory overheads, and that will be the factory rent, but not your total rent. Sometimes you have to apportion it. So the factory space, um, Let me just think now of a manufacturing place like Paul Print. Okay, I live in Paul, so I don't know any other places in town. Anyway, so a place like Paul Print or Paul Media, I think it's called Paul Media, it used to be called Paul Print. So they would have like the back section with the manufacturing of the Paul newspapers and all that kind of stuff. And then like directly onto it, they would have like the office block. So they would have to apportion it. Okay. Also your depreciation, but only depreciation of your office, of your machinery in the factory. So if you're going to depreciate your office desk, it becomes a period cost. If you get the factory depreciation like on your machines, okay, those will be your factory overheads. Okay, so now you get direct cost and indirect costs. Now people get confused with the indirect cost. Okay, so direct costs are costs that can be easily traced to a product. So the wood in the chair or in the desk and the metal would be your direct cost. It's as if like 99% of it is as if you can see it. And indirect cost is as if you cannot see it, but actually okay, can you just mute your mics? Is that what's going on? Can we just mute our mic? Please. Okay. Okay, thanks. So your indirect cost, okay? So it's as if you cannot see it. So like your glue, you can't physically see the glue in a chair. Just give me a sec quickly. Okay, so you. Okay, so indirect cost. You can't see the glue. You can't see varnish. So those are indirect cost. What else? You can't see the dowels. You can see the screws, yes. And varnish, you can't trace to how much you really use it. How much you use to a amount, because sometimes you'll use a double layer of varnish depending on the grain of the wood, type of stuff. People just keep your mics muted. Just give me 1 second quickly. Okay. So so that's your indirect cost. So the cost of material that are not direct material and they cannot be easily traced. You cannot trace varnish. You can't see varnish. And examples is glue. Glue also, you don't know really how much glue you're using unless you're crazy enough to measure. Okay, let's continue. Now you get fixed versus variable. So fixed costs are costs that remain unchanged. They're fixed. So rent is a fixed cost. You're going to pay 10,000 Rand rent a month for 10 years until you get told that it's more. So those are fixed costs. So an example is rent is fixed. It will remain the same price for the duration of the period signed of the contract. Variable cost. Those costs are fixed in unit price, right? But they vary in volume. So look at your electricity account. Your electricity unit is what, 2 Rand, say 2 Rand 80. I don't know how much it is. Okay, so your electricity is about 2 Rand 80 per unit, but you don't use. You'll use 50 this month, 57 the next month, 40 the other month. So in total, it's variable. So the variable cost is variable in total proportion, but they are fixed in unit price. Does everybody understand that concept? Same with water. You pay 6 rand a kiloliter of water, and there's no way anybody uses the same water every month. Okay. Okay, so actual cost versus the normal cost versus standard cost. So now we've done some theories and concepts, but concepts is very difficult to put into place if you didn't do examples. So let's just look at example on page 40. Okay, do you people have your, I'll just give you 2 minutes to take out your management accounting book, and mine is on page 39, yours might be on page 40. Okay, so I'll just auto load it quickly, open it up. Just give you 2 minutes. Exercise example 3.1, and it's on page 39 or 40 in your book, I'm not sure. For those students that came late, would you just put your student number in the chat, if you don't mind? Let me just see, what is this? Okay. Can I start? Does everybody have their books? Can everybody see the Excel spreadsheet? Can I start? 3.1. Okay, so let's start. Galjoen Limited manufactures tents. Okay. The company uses an actual costing as a basis for determining the cost of manufactured goods. Assume there's no inventory of tents on hand on 1 June. During June, the company started and completed 400 tents and actually incurred the following cost. So when you get this example, so they are talking about tents. So when we talk about tents, okay, tell me things that you can visualize about a tent or the whole company of Campmaster or whatever. You can take your button off mute now. Anybody?
NS?
Yes, Ines?
Okay. The things that can visualize on the tent. So you're gonna need the poles.
Okay, let's just make some notes here. What else?
So you're gonna have some poles, some ropes.
Some ropes, yes.
And there will be chairs inside the tent. Oh, just to build the tent.
To build the tent, yeah.
Okay,
So
it's
you're gonna
poles.
have
And
zips, thread. You're gonna have some thread as well. Anything else that you can think of? Canvas. We forgot about the main thing, canvas.
A bag
Okay.
to store everything in.
Yes, but that's also canvas, eh? Yeah, okay, so let's just wait about the bag. Storage. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Can you just mute your mics, please? Okay. So the other thing is, what I plan to do is never what happens in reality. Always remember this with management accounting. I always plan to do something, but it never really happens. Because now life works. So if I plan to manufacture 400 tins at a cost of 10 rand, that is never really the situation. Sometimes I get 300 tins, sometimes I get 600 tins. Sometimes my labor cost is higher. Sometimes my um um yes, my labor cost could be higher. Because on a Monday, everybody's on a go slow. The Wednesday, people, you get the most production out of people. There could be load shedding, there could be any factors, external factors can come into play. So always remember that is the gist of management accounting. What I budgeted to do or plan to do is never what happens, and that is where management accounting comes in. Let's get back to the example. So the company started and completed 400 tins and actually incurred the following cost. So remember, when I'm doing actual costing, focus is on the word actual. Okay, so it's the actual cost. So for direct material cost was 100,000 for 400 produced. So it's 250 rand per unit. My labor cost was 120,000 rand at 400 produced. So my cost of my labor is 300 rand per unit. My production overheads is 180,000 and I divide it by 400. So I get 450. So if I tally it up, I'm actually getting 1,000 rand per unit cost. So this is a very simple and easy one, but don't confuse this with a different type of costing. If we read on top there, it says actual costs are those costs that have been recorded in the accounting records of the company, the historical cost. You will recall that the historical cost means the original cost paid for goods and services at the time. Can you see how important those concepts are? So it's now going to help you in the applied examples. Okay, so an historical cost will go hand in hand with the actual cost. Since only actual cost or historical cost flows through the inventory accounts, the actual costing basis is also a historical cost basis. Okay, so there you have it. So when we apply the actual costing basis, we use the actual cost incurred during the month as a basis to determine the cost. So this is a very simple exercise, the actual costing. We trace the actual cost of the direct materials and the direct labor to the actual number of units produced. Okay, when you also do management accounting, you kind of like do it like this. You will read the definition that they give you, but you will do the example. And once you've done the example, you go back to the theory. So now it will start to make more sense when you go back to the theory after you've done the example, because then you will know what you did wrong. Okay, so can I move on? Because actual costing is not very difficult. Can we move on to something called normal costing? Oh, mics are off. Okay, I see there's a yes. Okay, so let's look at normal costing. And that is example 3.2 in my book is page 40, yours might be page 41. Okay, so how Unlimited manufactured the tents. The company uses a normal costing. Now, when you see the word normal, immediately make like a asterisk there or star, and then you make a note there that says production overheads. Because now you know that something is going to happen here by my production overheads. Okay? Um, Let me just see something. Just want to ask you something. Production overheads. Do you people know what production overheads is? Okay, let me just take you back. Production overheads is basically your factory overheads plus all your indirect costs. So those will give me my production overheads. You with me? So they're all my factory overheads plus all my indirect cost. And indirect cost would include my indirect labor plus my factory overheads. But okay, we'll put this into play now and then you'll understand it better. So back to the scenario example 3.2. So the company uses normal costing as a basis for determining the cost of manufacturing goods. So overheads are assigned to production at a predetermined rate of 430. Now, that is another thing that you highlight. How are they assigning cost? So you can either have a predetermined rate, you can have it assigned via your labor, direct labor hour. So you need to see what the question says or what the scenario says, and then you have to apply that. That's why it's not just, there's no hard and fast rule with management accounting. So in this case, it's applied at the 430 per tent, okay? Because they've obviously done a study before and they came to the conclusion that 430 is a reasonable cost. Right, so assume that there was no opening inventory of tents on the 1st of June. During June, the company started and manufactured 400 tents, and they actually incurred the following cost. So they actually incurred direct cost of 100,000. Okay, so let's just make a note here how we're going to do it. Actual cost. Okay. So the direct material bigger. Okay, so the direct material was 100,000. Okay, my direct labor cost was 120,000. Okay, and my production overheads was 180,000. And in total, I spent 400,000. Okay, so we are trying to apply a normal costing on this cost that they gave us. So my direct cost was 100,000. Let's just put here a thing called your normal costing basis. And that is what they want us to do here. Okay, so my direct material, just copy this over. Oh, damn. Damn it. Then I'm gonna move this now.
Ma'am, double click right there.
Yes, I
Double
know
click
I
right
can't. I
there.
don't have my yeah, I can't get it. I just can't.
Do you have a left click at
Okay.
all?
Yes, I do.
You can left click, double left click in there.
Ugh, flip, man. Wait, it's gonna work now.
Okay.
Let me just connect my mouse. Okay, right there, it's working. I want to do it my way. Okay, let's continue. So I have direct material, and those are my actual costing. But now I said to you, remember that the production overheads, okay, that is what's going to affect the normal costing. So let's look at the scenario. And we said that we are applying our production overheads to a predetermined rate. So my predetermined rate would be 430 times, how many tens did I manufacture? 400. Okay, so that will give me a total of 172,000. Okay, so as you can see, my manufacturing overheads, my total cost is now lower if I applied a determined rate. Okay, so can you see the difference between an actual costing basis and a normal costing basis? There's a note too many. So can you see the difference? So on a normal costing, the cost per product would be less. Okay, let's look at the next example. Same way, but now we are going to apply it based on a predetermined labor rate. Okay, so Halyun Limited manufactures tents. The company uses normal costing as a basis for determining the cost of manufactured goods. Overheads are assigned to production at a predetermined rate of 310 per direct labor hour. During June, the laborers worked a total of 600 direct labor hours, which was the actual cost. Assume there was no opening inventory of tents on hand, right? So during June, the company manufactured 400 tents and actually incurred the following cost. So once again, let's just work this side. So once again, we have 100,000 Rand, okay, which is my direct cost. I have my 120,000 Rand, which is my direct labor cost. So once again, production overheads become the issue here. So all we do is we say the 310 Rand, okay, which was my labor per direct labor hour, and we manufactured 600 hours, right? They say that they actually incurred the labor hours of 600 hours. Okay, so you say 600 hours times your 310. So I'm going to get a production overhead cost of 186,000. Okay, we just put here production overheads. Okay, so I'm going to get 406,000. So now, if I use my labor as a predetermined rate, the cost of the product is more. It's more than the actual, and it's normal, no more than the normal costing basis if I apply the predetermined overhead rate. Is everybody clear on that? Any questions on this? Should we continue?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So let's move on to standard costing. Okay, so standard costing differs from normal costing is that standard costing uses a predetermined rate for all the elements of manufacturing cost and not just for the production of it. So standard by costing is basically, let's just put it in a scenario now. Standard costing is something like you buy fabric at Highlight and you want to make a dress, right? Um, no, I don't want to say something now. Okay, so you bought the dress, okay? So you purchase 10 meters of fabric, okay? So you purchase 10 meters of fabric and you want to make this dress. So when you're making this dress, you discover that the grain of the fabric is not right. You're going to need more and there's weak spots in the material, okay? So you budgeted basically, or your dressmaker normally says buy 2 meters of fabric, but now you need 10 meters because the grain of the fabric is not right, or when you cut it or something like that. So now you need 6 meters or 8 meters or something, right? So that there's a variance there in terms of the material variance. What they mean by in all elements of the manufacturing process. Another example is where the price goes up. So you might use, the dressmaker might tell you to buy 2 meters of fabric at 15 Rand a meter. But now tomorrow you want the same dress because you want to resell it and make a quick buck to somebody. So you want to make the same dress by the dressmaker, but she says again buy 2 meters. But now the fabric isn't 15 Rand anymore, it's maybe 14 Rand. Or it's maybe 18 Rand. So then there's a price variance. So there's always two components of this. And the same if you move down all the categories, maybe labor. So labor could also have these two components of labor. Like you might pay 15 Rand an hour. You might have a person that's supposed to take 2 hours to do a job, but because of load shedding or because of this and that, he took 6 hours. So there's a variance in the labor. So that is what standard costing is all about. Okay, so let's look at this example here. Example 3.4. They say how Yun Limited manufactures tents. The company uses standard costing as a basis for determining the cost of goods manufactured. Assume there's no opening inventory on hand on the 1st of June. The following costs are applied. So now they're saying this, the direct material. You need 10 meters of fabric at 15 Rand per meter. Okay. You need 2 meters of fabric at 7 Rand per meter. Your frame poles, one set, okay, at 85 Rand. So your total direct labor material cost is 249 Rand and it's made up of your fabric, your floor, your frame poles. Okay. Your labor cost is 1.5 hours, and at Gaoyun they pay the laborers 190 per hour. The variable cost per unit is 180. So your total variable cost for this is 714 Rand. That is what I'm budgeting on. But now they say there the standard production output for a month is 380. Total fixed overheads is 114 Rand and is charged to production. Okay, so now they tell us that during June, the company actually started and completed 400 tents, and a total of hours was 600 hours. The following costs were actually incurred. So they gave us all these costs, okay, and they're saying let's determine it. Let's just discuss, let's just take 2 minutes and then we do this together and we discuss it. Let's just take a 2 minute, look at it, and then we discuss it. Are we moving too fast for you? Is the pace okay? Okay. Anybody want to discuss it? How are we going to attempt this question? Anybody? Anybody? NS?
Okay, I'm just still looking at it.
Okay, should I give you a little more than a...
Yeah, it's more than 2 minutes.
We just want to brainstorm, but okay, I'll just go switch on lights here in the house quickly while you're looking at it.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll obviously start with something we list what our actual costs are. Okay, so they gave
Okay.
it to us. We'll just sort of keep that at the back of our mind that our actual cost was 400,000, right?
Yes.
And the idea of the standard costing is to weigh up what's the difference between my standard cost and the actual cost. How much was I supposed to pay and versus what did I actually pay? It's something like this. Really, it's just something like this. You decide on the 3rd of or the 5th of June, you're going to buy yourself a pair of Adidas Takis, kind of. And you budget for 1,000 rand, but when you get to the shop, it's not 1,000 rand. It's actually 800 rand. So you actually score 200 rand. Or the scenario could be the opposite, where it's maybe 2,000 rand. So that is basically the gist of standard costing. What did I actually pay for it versus the actual thing? That's just a hypothetical type of example, if you get what I'm saying. So it's actual versus what was I supposed to pay for it.
Okay.
So now we know we put the actual aside. So we got our 400,000 is actual. Now let's break it down. Our first line item would be my direct material. So my direct material was 100,000 actual, but what did I really pay?
9.
So, and why did you pay that amount? Based on what?
The total cost per unit times the actual units.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So my actual was 100,000. Let's just put here direct material. Okay. So my actual was 100,000, but my standard was the 249 rand, which was made up of my 10 meters of fabric at 15 rand, 2 meters of floor, okay, of 14 rand, and then the poles, which was 85 rand. So it was 249 rand, but we actually we manufactured, our actual amount was 400. Okay, you do not use what they budgeted to make. Okay, and that is the biggest mistake that people make. They budgeted, they take the 249 times your 380. You want to know the standard cost versus your actual. So you say the 249 times your 400,
100.
and that's what you get the 99,600.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes. We just think about the labor cost quickly. Okay, let's discuss our labor costs. Please just mute your mics, please. Okay, somebody's muted it for me. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so our direct labor cost is 120,000. Is everybody with me? Actual?
Yes.
Okay, so my standard cost. Okay, what am I going to use for my standard cost? My standard labor and my actual completed tens. Okay, so if I take 285 rand because it was 190 that they paid the people, and you took 1.5 hours to manufacture. So which means to say it is 285 rand, and we manufactured 400. So now you're going to get 114,000. All right. Okay, my variable overheads. I'll give you 2 minutes and then we can just discuss the variable overheads. Is everybody with me or am I moving too fast? I'll just continuously take you back to the theory of costs, of concepts and things as we go along. But the only way is to do examples. Am I moving too fast? Okay. So my actual variable was 75,000. Okay. So what would be my standard cost? Okay.
True.
I'm just going to recap after we're done with this because there is somebody that feels that we're moving too fast. So I'll just accommodate that individual as well. Anybody know what the standard input cost would be?
Isn't 72,000?
Okay, because you used your 180 Rand variable per unit and you multiply it by your actual cost of 400.
The actual cost of
Okay.
400, yes.
That's 72,000.
Yes.
So my fixed overheads, right? Okay, let's move to fixed overheads and then we're just going to recap the whole exercise so that we're not moving too fast for some people. Okay, I'll give you 2 minutes for the fixed overheads. Let's just leave the fixed overheads for a while because the fixed overhead is kind of like tricky. Let's put an asterisk here in the meantime. Okay, and then let's just recap. I don't want people left behind. No student must be left behind. Okay. The lady that, I don't know if the lady or male or female, sorry about that. Tokozile. Where do you like me to recap from? From the actual cost to anybody else who feels that I moved too fast? Would like me to recap? Would you like me to start again by the actual costing on page 3.1?
I would like I would like you to just help me there by the direct labor cost. That 1.5 hours at 190 per hour.
Okay.
Then they say
The standard cost, the standard time that it takes to manufacture one tent is 1.5 hours. Okay, that is what the company has done the homework on. So it should take you 1.5 hours. And this company pays 190 Rand an hour. So the total cost of labor cost of manufacturing this tent is 285 Rand. Right? So my labor cost is 285 Rand and we actually manufactured 400 tents. So that will give me 114,000. Okay, so it will give me 114,000, but the actual cost was 120,000 that they incurred. Okay, so here's going to be a column here that you will call a variance.
just a second, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am, to disturb you.
Yes.
Again, there by the labor cost, we have 1.5 hours at 190. Then they gave us 285. Though the actual cost was 120. Then if you go to the standard input, it's 114. So how did we come up to that 285?
285, we said.
Yeah, standard unit.
Take out your calculator. It's 190 times 1.5. If you multiply, I want you to physically multiply, then you can see. 190 times 1.5.
Okay.
And what do you get?
Thank you.
So you get your 285. So is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. Was that NS?
Yes.
Okay. Now you must talk. You must talk. Don't be shy, yeah? Okay, so I want to go back to my friend Tokozile. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Okay. So where should I start? Where should I move back to? Where did you lose me? Anybody else? Anybody else who wants me to move back from where? If I'm moving too fast, where do you want me to start again? I'll be happy to repeat it again. Should we continue? Because nobody's saying where they lost, so where should I start again?
Yes, to fix overheads.
To fix overheads. What page? Fix overheads. What page is that you're talking about? The fixed production overheads. Must we continue with that?
Yes, yes, must continue to fix production overheads.
Okay. Okay, so now let's do our fixed overheads. Okay, so let me give you 2 minutes. Okay, my actual fixed overheads was 105,000. Okay, so remember they said the standard production output for a month is 380. The total fixed overhead is set at 114 and is charged to production per direct labor hour. So because they told us fixed overheads and we are busy working with fixed overheads, right? We have to know how are we going to allocate it? And they say to us it is charged to production per direct labor hour. Does everybody see that paragraph there that I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take 114,000. Okay.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to ask you something. So when they give you that information, then like the total fixed overhead is set to 114,000 and it's charged to production, then you kind of know that you need to use that information to work out the fixed overhead rate. Oh, okay, cool.
Yes. That's like your cost driver type of thing. What is driving my cost? So in this case, my direct labor hours is driving my cost.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You don't have to call me ma'am, people. You can call me Aziza. Please call me Aziza. I want you to be comfortable. I'm not a ma'am. Okay, I want you to be comfortable. I want you to ask me questions. I want you to, if you don't understand something, we're all in the same boat. Okay, just remember that the next person also doesn't understand. Okay. And we rather look foolish in front of people we don't know because we only see a NS or B or TM. We don't know these people. So we can be foolish. Okay, so we're going to take 114,000, right? And it's because it's charged to direct labor hours, right? How many tens did we budget for? 380, am I right?
Yes.
The standard production output. Okay. And how many hours, standard labor hours, does it take?
600.
How many standard labor hours does it take? No, don't lie. Don't lie.
600.
1.5 hours. Okay. No. How many hours does it take to make one tent?
Oh, sorry.
You see, so we're trying to figure out what's the standard labor hours here. And you saying 600, but that was actual. So that is where people get confused. So don't make that mistakes. So we are now looking for our standard. So we're going to say 380 tens was what we budgeted to manufacture, right? And we budgeted that it normally takes 1.5 hours if it's nobody Lucilla no. Okay, anyway. You know when you're going slow at work. Okay, so 380 times 1.5 is 570. Okay. Okay. That's the next step. So you're going to take your 114,000, which is my fixed overheads, okay, which we budgeted for, divided by my standard labor hours. So you're going to say 114,000 divided by 570 hours, and we're going to get an amount of 200 Rand. Okay. So that is my standard unit cost. Okay. So now 200 Rand times my 600 labor hours. So that was my actual labor hours. Okay. So I'm going to say here 200 times my actual labor hours of 600, right? And that is 120,000. Okay. So that is how I'm going to get my fixed production overheads. And a common mistake that people make is at the end they're sitting with units instead of rands and rands instead of units. You must be able to see what you're doing here. If you're working with units, always separate the two. You make like a column so that you know only units go in that column and only rands go in that column. Because people end up multiplying units by units and rands by rands. It's rands times units at all times, or most times. Okay, so does everybody understand how we got our fixed overhead production? Like I say, there's no hard and fast rule with this. Like in accounting, it's debit, there's a rule, there's a protocol, it's a debit or credit. And with this, there isn't. You have to read what the question says. That is why people struggle so much. Okay, let's repeat this fixed overheads again. No.
No, for me, it's clear.
Ethan, is it Ethan? Huh? Ethan, are you okay? Everybody else okay?
It's okay with me. Yes.
Okay, let's continue. So now we know that my actual was 400,000 and my standard was 405,600. Alrighty. So let's continue to the next page. Let's just read what the note says and see if we can put it in there. You will notice there is a difference of 5,600 between the total actual cost incurred and the total standard cost charged to production. This difference is called a variance. Can you see it? And that is where the variance will come in. So you will say 100 minus 99,600 be 400 and something like that. Okay, we can do that. So 100 minus 99,600 will give me a variance of 400, and that will be an unfavorable variance. Okay. Let's continue to read. This difference is called a variance. In this instance, the actual cost was less than the standard cost, and therefore we will refer to as a favorable variance. Okay. So remember a favorable variance. Remember the whole 5,600. Okay, because the 400,000 is less than the 405,000. We have a favorable variance. That is like I explained to you now when you go to the shop and buy your tackies and you got more money left in your pocket. Okay, because we spent less money than anticipated. Okay, had the actual cost been higher, or if it was vice versa, we would have had an unfavorable variance like this year. Can you see this? So this would be an unfavorable variance because my actual cost is higher than my standard cost, but overall that was not the case. Okay, because here we spent more money than they anticipated. Okay, we can use standard costing as a management tool for planning and controlling. Remember the first slide of management accounting, what I said, what it's about? It's about planning and controlling, right? You cannot have a factory and then you randomly just go and sell and manufacture things, and you don't know, you didn't plan anything, you didn't document how much the wood cost, you didn't document if it went up, you didn't document that you've got a new labor force that's working much slower, and it doesn't take 1.5 hours anymore to manufacture something. It now takes 50 days to manufacture something because these people just don't want to work. So yeah. So when we set standards, we assume that operating conditions are efficient. And that is, you always think that operating conditions are efficient. If you think what happened at the beginning of the year, nobody anticipated that businesses would close now. People were still drawing up budgets and planning for the year, and they're going to sell X amount of suntan lotion and stuff. But beaches were closed. People couldn't do things that they were doing. If you look at our tourist resorts and spas and things, they were planning on how much business they'll make in January, December, October, November, December. And now we had the virus, and the market is now inefficient, all the operating conditions. Okay, the standard cost per unit can be used to prepare a flexible budget, a budget that can be adjusted for changes in the level of activities. So in a flexible budget, you can, okay, we're going now through the coronavirus. I think that 1,000 sales is too much now. It's asking too much. We should be happy with 100 sales. So then you can just adjust the budget. The following is a flexible budget for galjoen at production levels of 300, 400, and 500 tins. Okay. Let's just pause quickly before we start with that exercise. Is everybody with us on the same page? Do we need to, except NS? Ethan, are you okay? Okay, on the 380 times 1.5, did you use direct labor hours? Yes. Yes, we used the direct labor hours. The 380 was the tens and the 1.5. Okay, so Ethan answered, or did Ethan answer me? Anyway, so we can continue now. Let's look at if we were to produce something at 300, 400, or 500 tens. So let's just say 300, 400, and 500 tens. Okay. So assumingly this company, galjoen, had budgeted to do 300 or 500 tens for December because people camp and people buy. But because we had this virus, they have to now do a flexible budget and see what's the cost going to be if I have to sell 300 units, and what's the cost going to be at 400 units. Because remember, it's not the same cost when you make different quantities. So let's look at, so that is my units, okay? So let's look at my variable cost. Okay, and we know that my variable cost was 714 Rand from the budget. Okay, so 714 Rand, and let's just put this in red here. So 714 Rand times 300, right, is 214,200. Okay, if people know, and then 714 times 400, right, equals 285,600. And then at 500, my variable cost will be 714 times 500, and it will be 357,000. With me. My fixed cost. What do we notice about fixed cost? Can you tell me about fixed cost?
Fixed cost.
From my notes. Sorry.
The fixed cost remain the same.
It is it. Okay, so I'm going to put my 114,000. Okay. Okay. So my total production cost. And another thing, you know, always look at what the question says. Is it asking for a total or is it asking per unit cost? Okay, because people make that mistake as well. So we want the total. So 214 plus 114 is 328,200. Okay, 285,600 plus 114 is 399,600. Okay, 357 plus 114 equals 471,000. Right. So let's look at it. What is the cost per unit? Okay, that was my total production cost. But now we want to see what is my unit cost. Okay, so my unit cost, we're going to say, consists of my fixed overhead per unit. So it's 114,000, right? Divided by 300. Am I right? So we're going to get 380 Rand. Let's put it in brackets here. Oh, yeah, at the bottom. But you can know. So here I'm going to say 114,000 and I'm going to divide it by 300. Okay. The next one I'm going to say 114,000 divided by 400. Okay. And that will give me a unit cost of 285 Rand. Okay. If I take the fixed cost divided by 500, right? 114,000 divided by 500, I'm going to get a unit, fixed overhead cost per unit of 228 Rand. So that is my fixed overhead per unit. Okay. If I look at my variable overhead, okay, my variable overhead cost per unit remains 714 Rand. Okay, because it's made up of my direct material, my direct labor, my variable overhead, and blah, blah, blah. So it stays 714 Rand. So then my variable overhead is my variable cost. Per unit. Okay, so 380 plus my 714 is going to give me a total of 1094. 285 plus my 714 is going to give me 999. Okay. And then 228 plus 714 is going to be 228 Rand. No, it's 942 Rand. So you can see that at 500 units, it's going to be the cheapest to manufacture. At 400 units, it's going to be the second cheapest. And to manufacture 200 units, okay, it's going to be more expensive. Okay. So at 200 units, it will be even more expensive to manufacture. Okay. Because then you're going to say 114,000 divided by 200 plus your 714. What are you going to get at 100 units to manufacture? First one who shouts out the answer can go home early.
714.
No.
You said you
At
manufacture
100 units. So you need to tell me what is the total cost per unit for 100 units if I were to manufacture 100 units.
$71,400.
100 units, what do you get?
71,400.
Sorry?
71,400.
What? Per unit?
Just wait a second. And let me just go back. We're at 300. Sorry.
Now, I'm glad you made that mistake now. You must
Sorry,
always
sorry,
look at
sorry.
your answer and say, does this seem logical?
Okay.
That happens.
Can you repeat the question?
At 100 units,
Okay.
what is my cost gonna be per unit if I manufacture 100 units?
So you want to know what is going to be the cost per unit?
Yes.
Units. Okay.
I know you only beginners now, but this should take you 1 minute, eh? Otherwise, time is gonna be a problem in the exams. Did anybody put their student number in? Where am I now? What's taking you so long?
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm saying
Ma'am, Aziza.
Aziza.
Aziza. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who am I speaking to?
You speaking to me, your Kesangiti.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So you said that if you had to at 100 units,
Yeah, bo.
then you wanted to know what will the cost be
Per unit, yes.
per unit. It will be 1,140 rand.
No, you're wrong. You have to stay in class.
Okay. So I need to see what. Maybe
Detention.
no
Detention for you. Anybody else who wants to go home early? You almost right.
Something.
Something I didn't do. Here we go. So, okay, 4, 422. Oh, okay. Now I've got you.
Mm-hmm. You want to share with us? Ethan, did you win? Are you getting it? NS, where are you? You quiet?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
So did you come up with something? Or was it detention for you as well?
I'm still on detention, but yeah, I'm coming. Okay, Aziz,
Yes.
do you mind to take us back, because it seems as if all of us now are just stuck and yeah. Okay, let's just be honest.
Oh,
Take us
no.
back.
Okay, let me just explain you how you would do that.
No, just
Do you
because
want to say something?
yeah, maybe my answer is not right, but it will be 1,854 rand.
Okay, you can leave. You got it right. Do you want to
Sorry,
explain it to them how you got it?
Must I
Isn't it
explain?
1854?
Yes, 1854. That's
Yes,
the
that's what
correct.
he said.
Oh, I thought he said 1564.
1854, he said.
Is that the correct answer?
So let's give that man a bells.
Yes, man. Thank you.
Then give us, how did you do it?
Okay, no
Okay.
problem. Let the lecturer explain, and then I'll just guide.
No, you have to explain to us.
Oh, I explain. No, can I
Can
charge?
I explain?
Okay. Okay, Bilkis, you can
Isn't it?
explain.
Isn't it the 114,000
Yes.
divided by 100? That's the
Yeah.
fixed overhead per unit. And then you say plus variable cost per unit is the 714. And then you get the answer of 1854. Did I get? Yeah.
1854.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, she can also get a bells. Alarm bells. Okay. Yeah, that's what I want you people to do. More interactive, where you explain, like Bilkis went ahead and she explained, and the other people learn better. It's not just about me explaining all the time. It's about you also explaining to your peers. And sometimes I don't explain it 100% in a language that you people understand. So in student language, we call it student language. And then your peer will understand it better. So everybody got that now, how to do that. Can you see, this is about thinking out of the box. Okay. So, I'm just worried about, is everybody, the WhatsApp group, I don't know, for the people that came late, I've put a link in there if you want to join our WhatsApp group.
Yes.
The WhatsApp group is, we don't teach on the WhatsApp group, but it's just in case there's load shedding, emergencies, and I don't want you to sit stranded, because the communication channel on a weekend might be late because, you might also have load shedding on your side, or anything. Even if I just want to post an exercise for you to do quickly, or if you're studying late at night or early in the morning, you can just post it. I don't know, this is a very small group. So you can just post it and somebody else can answer the question or help. And I normally watch it, and if nobody answers, then I normally just answer the question for the person. Because I also studied at UNISA, and it's not nice when you're sitting at night, and I understand how it feels. It's not nice when you're sitting at night and you're trying to do an example and you can't get it right, and there's nobody to help you. And that is why I have the group, so that we can help each other. Okay, anything else about the course? About you all got your study material? It's all downloaded. I don't think it's going to come in the
Yes.
post anymore. I don't know if you're still getting post. So is it still coming in the post?
I just downloaded this stuff.
Yeah.
Downloaded it.
Yeah, you can't wait for the post. I don't know if they're still using the post. But okay, so you download it. As we finish a chapter, you do your assignments. Okay, so your assignment 1 must be in, I don't know when. Assignment 2 is a very long assignment, and they only mark a few things on the assignment. So what I need you to do is, you need to, I don't have access to yours, I don't have your assignment, I must actually go through it, but I don't help with assignments. So as we finish a chapter, you first practice other examples, and then you do your assignment and you attempt it. So you're not going to do the whole one and struggle all the time. We won't be able to do everything before the assignment due date, but I think they normally extend the assignments. So don't rush or panic too much. You know what I'm saying? Anything else that you want to clarity on? The classes is on Tuesday, on a Thursday and a Saturday. If it doesn't work for you and you really want us to change it, we can maybe review it if it doesn't work for you. Otherwise, there's the recorded session. But I would prefer you rather to come to the interactive session where, you know, you have input into the class and we all just be silly and make our mistakes and stuff.
Can I ask, maybe I throw a suggestion that majority of some of us is working and some of us is full-time students and some of us is part-time. So I think by starting class 6 o'clock instead of 6:30, I think 6:30 will be much better than 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because some of us, by the time you have the class, for example, I finish 5, then it takes me about an hour and a half to get to my place. Yes,
okay.
but when I arrive now, you are already halfway through your section. I was trying to follow you on my phone, but it's not on the laptop.
Yeah, it makes you disorientated, yeah, when you get to the class. Okay, maybe we can look at the 6:30 session rather. Is everybody in agreement? We move the time from 6 to 6:30.
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay. The Saturday class, I have it at 1:30 till 3:30 because I know that, I don't know why people always work in retail that does management accounting. They always people that work on a Saturday. My legal accounting students, they never work Saturdays. They like always Saturdays free. So I do them first. So the Saturday, the 1:30 till the 3:30 slot is fine.
That's good.
That's a cool.
Okay. And then you know that if there's still something that's bothering you, you can make a one-on-one appointment. I do it on a Tuesday. I think I put it on the timetable. A Tuesday. So between 5 and 8. So you can just email me on my email address, which is the EFORTUA at unisa.ac.za. I've got so many email addresses, I forgot all. So anyway, so then you email me if you need assistance with something, because I know that some people have anxiety asking questions. I'm not going to judge you in the class or on the group, and some people don't like to ask the same thing twice. But the thing is, we need to pass, we need to learn. Everybody's in the same boat. I feel like I'm writing exams with you people every year. So yeah, we must just all, whatever works for you. So on a Tuesday I do that, and the session is only an hour. Okay, so you will get your private hour on a Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday. Doesn't really matter.
Okay.
So then you can have but the private session is free. It's one-on-ones, right? It's through Unisa. You have to book it through Unisa. But the thing is, you can't have private sessions if you're not attending the class. You have to attend the class as well. And if you need to have a private session, well, one-on-one, it's not called it private. Private sounds like you're paying. So it's a one-on-one session. And we do that via Teams as well because the university is closed.
Okay.
All right.
Anything else? Was the class useful? Did I move too fast? I'm trying to accommodate everybody, so I just want you people to say stop. The thing is, I can't always read my chats, but chats I can't see when the screen is open. So my chats I'm actually using on my phone, So it's kind of like I have to like use my phone as well to see every time to go in and see. So you can also just stop me, unmute you, and just mute it again because of the background noises. Okay, and I think that if you go through my UNISA, then you don't pay for data on the Teams. But if you're going to listen to recordings, you will pay for the data, as far as I understand it. Okay, anything else? Was the session useful to you?
Very useful. I was
Very useful.
one thing that I actually enjoyed. Hello.
We're listening.
What I actually found very informative is that a lot of the time, sometimes I would actually know how to do the question, but because the way it's asked, so sometimes it's a bit too much information, and I don't actually know how to like break it up. So that was also very helpful.
Yes, filtering the information. Okay, anybody else?
Thank you.
Otherwise, we call it a day. You can go home. You can all go home now. Okay, then I'll see you on Saturday again. And then on Saturday we're gonna move through the book and do examples. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was very helpful.
Okay.
What about the WhatsApp groups?
The WhatsApp link is. Let me just stop recording. Let me just repost it again.